Okay, so in order to combine a couple images together in Photoshop, first obviously you need to have two images, and we'll open them up in Photoshop. So I just drag them onto the Photoshop icon and they should open up here. Here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to superimpose this photo here onto this Christmas ornament here. The first thing I'm going to do though is I'm just going to quickly touch this up a little bit, just with those auto color and contrast. Actually, I'm going to undo that. Sometimes auto color tends to make things look a little worse than they should. So I'm going to take this with my move tool, and that's the top tool in your toolbox there. Drag it across onto the other image, and I'm just going to resize this. So it's Command T, or you can go to Edit and you can go to Free Transform. And I'm going to shrink this down a little bit, and I'm going to go to my layer palette and turn down the transparency so I can see through this a little bit, so I can see what it is that I'm working with. And I'm going to shrink it down a little bit more, like so, just to get that to fit nicely, like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'll hit OK or Enter on the keyboard. And now what I need to do is to add a layer mask. But before I do that, I can show you, I can blend this just as it is with some of these blend options that are here, like screen and overlay and that sort of thing. Now the only problem with this is that when you do this, it sometimes gives too much of the original detail from the photo on the layer below, or not enough, or you just can't get the colors right. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to use a layer mask. This is kind of the #1 most common way to combine a couple images with ease. Just go to Layer, and you go down to Layer Mask, and you can choose Reveal All or Hide All. Reveal All, you get to see the photo that's there, and Layer 1, Hide All, would hide it. Now before I do this, I got to make sure I got one thing reset, and that's my colors. So I reset them to black and white in the toolbox, go up to Layer, Layer Mask. In this case, I'm going to hide all, and then I'm going to take my paintbrush, and I'm just going to make sure I've got a fairly large size brush, and I'll increase the size of that brush. Whoops. A little more here, and I'll paint in just like that. Very nice. So the only issue with this is that it's too clear. So what we need to do is just take the eraser tool, and I'm going to turn down the opacities or the transparency of that, and I'm just going to increase the size of the brush, and then I'll go back to the paintbrush, and I'll turn down the transparency of that a little bit as well. There, that's not too bad. Now if I wanted to be really picky with this, what I could do is I could add a filter to this, like a blur, just to kind of soften it a little bit. So I could add like a Gaussian blur. You can see that softens it just a touch, and there we go. Piece of cake.